5 more minutes. I hope this series has been fun for you, even with the breaks that I have accidentally taken, because it has been really fun for me to go back and read the Bible. I have said on Sunday mornings that at my age, the thing I'm most continually grateful to see in the scriptures is how interconnected they are. The book of Esther, very, very much like the book of Ruth, very much like the New Testament call and Jeremiah's words, is about faithful neighbor care as a God follower. The book of Esther is famous for a number of reasons, and it should be. It's so well written. It's so interesting, among other reasons, because it's true. We find a few Jews living faithfully in Susa. This is during the Babylonian, now Persian, exile of the Jewish people. Some of the Jewish people are back in Jerusalem, but these are about Jewish people who are not back in Jerusalem. You can hear about that in Ezra and Nehemiah and the end of Chronicles. And we find out that the king is a little bit goofy. There's a lot of satire in the book of Esther. But also, in my opinion, he was a good and wise king in a worldly sense. We find out that he's doing feasts and he invites people great and small to it. They have interesting drinking laws for the feasts that included how the staff were encouraged to drink. And then the king gets upset with his wife. And he asks his advisors what to do, and they give him advice that I actually think is wise in a worldly sense, though not in a godly sense. And through this, he ends up meeting several young women, including who we call Esther, though she had a Persian name also that shows probably some identity issues going on with her. It also is the reality of being an orphan in an exiled country where it is not encouraged and you could even be persecuted depending on who's in power for believing in God. Esther, the orphan, is raised by her wise, loving cousin, Mordecai. And probably the most famous verse comes from Mordecai talking Esther into using her position that she gained not only through her beauty, but also through her wisdom and thoughtfulness. Mordecai says this to her when she has the opportunity to save the Jews from a very vicious, evil, vile person. And they told Mordecai what Esther had said. Then Mordecai told them to reply to Esther, "Do not think to yourself that in the king's palace you will escape any more than all the other Jews," because Esther was afraid of dying. "For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Haman, it is not clear whether he hated Mordecai because he was a Jew, or if he simply hated him because Mordecai had power that he gained by being a wise and good servant to the king on multiple occasions. It is clear that Haman was a very vile person. He built a 75-foot gallows to try and hang Mordecai from. The book of Esther is also known for not mentioning the name of God, and yet the providence of God, though you do not see it, you see its effect. Though you do not know what happened when Esther and the Jews, at her request, prayed and fasted to the Lord about what to do, even though they already had a plan put together, it is clear that that fasting and prayer mattered to God and to them. And the lovely thing about Esther is it fits in with 1 Peter, who tells us to be good neighbors as elect exiles. Mordecai is literally doing what Jeremiah told the Israelites to do in their exile: befriend the city. Be a faithful citizen where you are, because that is the call of Christians. And one of my favorite parts of the book is many Persians became God followers watching Esther and Mordecai wisely befriend their land and area, because that is what we are called to do as God followers and certainly as Christ followers. So I encourage you to stop reading whatever novel you're reading tonight just for a few minutes wait a little bit on the TV show you're watching, even if it's Ted Lasso, and read the book of Esther, which is a delightful read, clear that God is sovereign and good, and clear that our opportunity, we do not know how large or small it is to be a good citizen, because God has been so good to us in pursuing and calling us to himself.